Hello, my name is Ron Rocco. I'm a fellow at the Lincoln Institute of Land Policy in Cambridge, Massachusetts.
Hello, I'm Paul Bedancet. I'm the founder for the Center for Appraisal Research and Technology.
Paul and I are here today to do a tutorial on Lincoln Institute's Vertical Equity app. The tutorial is in two parts. In part one, we provide an introduction to the concept of vertical equity and how it's measured. This is the second part of the tutorial where we actually provide a demonstration of the Vertical Equity app. So with that, Paul, do you want to take it away?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Ron. You'll see here, if you look up at the address, this is a link to the app that is through the Lincoln Institute website. And we have a quick description of it, but there is a link here that we can click that allows us to access this app. So this is hosted as a Shiny app. So we have this interactive dashboard that we are able to upload our values to and run some fancy computations and export a report simply. Here we have a landing page for the app. We would like to first, though, recognize Dr. Corey Yeaman, who is a senior fellow with the Center for Appraisal Research and Technology. He was the programmer who created this, made sure it's fast and efficient and accurate. So we would like to thank him for all of his hard work and recognize him here before we begin to showcase it. So we have a few different tabs that are broken up horizontally on this above here on this little tab landing page. We click on the data, and this is where we're going to upload a CSV that has our time adjusted sale prices in one column and our assessed values in another column. So from here, I'm going to be pulling up some Suffolk County data to showcase some local results from outside of Boston, close to the Lincoln Institute of Land Policy. And now we have all of our column headers from our spreadsheet have been fed into this. So we simply have to go to the dropdown and tell this app which columns are our respective time adjusted sale price, as well as the assessed value that we are looking at. So click this here.
Just a quick note on the time adjusted sale price. For those of you who aren't familiar with time adjustments, we do have a description of the time adjustment process through a hyperlink in the data, but the time adjustment process is a way of bringing the sale prices up to the same date as the assessment. We always think that it's a more accurate way of doing a ratio study if we use time adjusted sale price. So we highly recommend doing a time adjustment to your sale prices, especially if you're using more than 1 year's worth of data.
And you'll notice that there's no button that we have to press that has this run. It's already running in the background. We simply click on our next tab here, which is the assessment to sale ratio. So you'll see it gives us a few things. A lot of this text it's not going to change regardless of the data set we run, but the bold text will give you a different top level report. So you see here of the data that we just read in, it's telling us that the overall median ratio is 0.949. We can also use this to do a more granular analysis where we break this up by sales decile from the lowest prices on up to the highest prices. And we can see here that while our first decile has an assessment to sale price ratio of 0.99, as we move up to the median ratio, as we said, it's only 0.95, and then even the 10th decile, 0.925, so 0.93. So there is a very, very slight trend downwards. You'll see here, though, that our app has already analyzed this data for us. It tells us that the range between the median ASR for the lowest price decile, 0.988, and the highest, 0.925, is 0.063. So we have a difference, a range between this that shows us the spread. And we also have a summary that says it suggests that lower ratios exist or become more lower as we increase the sale price. So a regressive trend in our ratios as we go from the lowest price properties to the highest price properties.
One other thing that the app provides here too is in addition to that range, for those of you who may be a little bit more statistically inclined, we also have a regression line. And that the slope of that regression line, if it's negative, as is the case here, that's suggesting that there is a slight level of regressivity. Whereas if that regression line was going up, that would show a progressive pattern.
And we click on our next tab called COD to get our coefficient of dispersion. This tells us here that of the data we uploaded, the COD is 7.414, which is well within the thresholds of acceptability for single-family residential set forth by the IAAO, between 5 and 10% for newer or more homogeneous areas, and 5 to 15% for the older or more heterogeneous areas.
And some of you may be thinking, wait, I thought the coefficient of dispersion was a measure of horizontal equity. And you're correct that it is primarily a horizontal equity measure. But we included it in the app for a couple of reasons. Number one, again, we're trying to give you a very complete picture of what's happening with your assessment distribution. And we think the COD provides you with some very good information there. And secondly, often when you have issues of vertical inequity, you'll also have some issues with your COD and horizontal inequity as well. So we think it's important to evaluate the COD as well as the vertical equity measures in trying to get a complete picture.
Moving on to our PRD tab, we have the output for the price-related differential. So this tells us here that the PRD for the properties in our spreadsheet is 1.003, which is well within inside the range of acceptability set forth by IAAO, which is between 0.98 and 1.03. So again, this is another indicator that vertical equity is present in the assessed values that we've uploaded. Move along to look at our vertical equity through the lens of the price-related bias. This also gives us a nice visualization of a potential trend line here. It tells us that the PRB for the properties that we uploaded is 0.025. And again, this is inside the IAAO's recommended range of negative 0.05 to 0.05, and is another indicator that vertical equity is present. So we can see here that there is a slight trend line. It looks like ever so slightly upward, but again, it is not to a degree that is going to violate the threshold specified by IAAO. Moving on to our Spearman's rank order correlation. Again, it gives us a little bit of a background on this statistical metric because it is one that has been present in IAAO research and literature over the years, but to nowhere near the same degree as the PRD and the PRB. But this tells us here that we have a Spearman's rho value of negative 0.169, which suggests that there is a low correlation of the ratio in the sales ranking. And this tells us that the correlation is statistically significant at the 0.001 confidence level and is another indicator in our suite of metrics to suggest that these assessed values demonstrate vertical equity.
And similar to what we did with the COD analysis, there's a table below that will just help you provide some assistance in terms of the interpretation of the Spearman's rho.
And if we move over to our final tab, we have the output of the Gini measures. If we skip down here, we can look at our bold results here. And this tells us that we have a KI score of negative 0.008 and an MKI of 0.925. So this does suggest that, unlike the other indicators, the PRD and the PRB, this does indicate that there is some regressivity in the distribution. And this finding is also confirmed through the inspection of the lines below in our Gini measures plot. So we can also, a cool feature of this is we can zoom in on certain parts of the line to inspect how close these lines fit at different points on the chart.
And Paul, if we can zoom out to the full extent again, while the MKI is indicating some slight level of regressivity, an MKI of over 0.9 like this really is indicating that we're doing a pretty good job in terms of vertical equity with these assessments. And you can see that in that the Gini lines for both the assessments and the sale prices are really very close together, even when you do the zoom in. So even though there's a slight level of regressivity present, I would say that if I saw a distribution like this, this is something that you can feel pretty comfortable that you're doing a pretty good job with respect to vertical equity.
Yes, and the best part of this, and once we're done running these analyses, we can click on this button here that says Get Your Report, and it will download a PDF after it's done rendering all of these results that we can then open up, and all of our bolded results are put into this report here, so we can quickly see what the results were as they change, perhaps from different data sets or different files that we are uploading to this app. Each of our plots are rendered here, very visually appealing, very clear, nice formats that are helpful for reporting. So whether we're using this for internal strategic purposes around mass valuation, or using it to uncover some other potential issues that could be going wrong with our assessed values with regard to certain types of properties, or even using for defensibility after we've completed a revaluation, this can be very, very useful both internally and for external stakeholders.
And I think it's important, as we discussed in the first tutorial, that the app here is presenting you with several measures of vertical equity. And as we've seen in each of them, they're each showing a slight level of regressivity, with the exception of the PRB, which was actually showing a slight level of progressivity. So when you look at these measures collectively, while we do see slight levels, they're all well within IAAO standards with respect to the PRD and the PRB. And the other measures are even though the statistics are showing slight regressivity, they're still we're getting a consistent finding that while there's a slight level present, it's not something that we're worried about. We're not getting extreme values. We're not getting values outside. Right. So again, the beauty of the app and looking at these measures, it gives you a better view, a more wider view of what's happening with your assessments. So with that, we thank you for your attention. We hope that you will use the app and that you'll get some good value out of it, and that we can all reach the goal of more equitable assessments for everyone. Thank you for your time.